Brothers and sisters, Trinity to Guzman, coming at you right now from beautiful Vancouver. I came up to North America for a little visit and have just been doing so much to bring this vision forward, to manifest this with you all, and to just create paradise back on earth. I really see that that is what we together are here to do. And what does that mean exactly? It means creating the worlds where, in so many different mythological stories or even modern day books like Conversations with God, they speak about worlds where we lived off the land, where we lived in harmony with each other and with the land, and money wasn't an issue, that wasn't a squabble that we decided to waste energy on, but we just supported each other and we lived with each other and the land. And we thrived. We were happy. We all did what we loved. And we just grew in love with each other, with the earth, and coming back into more and more of who we really are in that connection with Mother Earth. I really feel like that's one of the things that lacks the most out of our lives, which is a connection with nature. And that is so healing in and of itself. Not even talking about, the medicine work or the breath work and the meditation. Like just being in nature. If you want to speak about it scientifically, there's a lot of things I could go into about that. But basically, everything in nature is a representation or a mirror or a reflection of sacred geometry. And everything that is made up of in nature, I'm not an expert at this, by the way, but I am really excited and passionate about it, which is why I want to share it with you. But basically, with everything in nature being the vibration of sacred geometry, or the shapes of sacred geometry, or the composition of sacred geometry, I'm talking about all the, on a quantum physics level, the electrons, the protons, and the neutrons, and are structured in a way where they make up the 5 platonic solids. And these are the basic structures of everything that exists in reality. And when we surround ourselves with nature, with this field of our natural state, then we are naturally brought back into our natural state. Does that make sense? I had this incredible conversation with this guy at the airport one day in Peru, and we were just sitting down. It was really late, like 2 a.m. They were at the table right beside me, and I was having my salad, and then all of a sudden I was hearing them talk about portals and dimensions and ayahuasca and ceremonies and sacred geometry and Fibonacci sequence, and all of a sudden, obviously, my ears perked up, and I just joined in the conversation. And this guy was a college or university professor, and he's taught about sacred geometry, and he's written the #1 Amazon selling book on sacred geometry. I don't remember the guy's name or the book, but it was an incredible conversation. And what he was sharing about, just being in nature and how powerful that is. And even if we recreate that in our structures, for example, creating domes or pyramids, that enhances the effect of keeping the natural state of the vibration that nature is in, and replicating that in our external living environment allows us to be in that state so much more easily and more deeply. Does that make sense? And so I was just meditating and doing some yoga in the sun, and I was inspired to make this video because there's so many updates that I endlessly have every single day about this vision unfolding. I can only fit so much into these videos. I like to keep them around 20 minutes or so. And and what I have to share with you today is an exciting update on the land manifestation. So it's not a question of if we're getting the land, it's a question of basically when. And it's not even a question of when, it really doesn't even matter. It's so not up to us, and we just hold space for the manifestation of the land to come. I do see that it's going to be in either July or August, though, in terms of talking about the whole closing process of the contracts with the realtors and the due diligence and checking with the county on certain permits, and if we can You know, a lot of little legal things. Some of that takes time when it comes to title ownership, but we're getting the land. We are, without a doubt, getting the land, and it's going to be the most incredible place. I see it having a river, as I was talking about the connection with nature. Submerging ourselves in water is also incredibly, it literally rebalances our electromagnetic field, which is why we're so drawn to water. And it's incredible when you start to learn about everything in a like scientific quantum physics level, because there's this incredible brother who's a part of this vision who is a genius beyond geniuses, really. Like, he, by the age of 20, translated the Bible into three languages: Greek, Latin, and Aramaic. Aramaic is the original language that Jesus spoke, and in Aramaic, there's a lot of words that there isn't a translation to in English, so it's obviously difficult to translate that. But basically, he was born up in a Christian cult, in a Mormon, very strict Mormon cult, and he was basically so held in a box, and from that woke up through what he really learned Jesus was speaking about. And basically, I'm just introducing this character because he is a genius that is a part of this vision that will be working with us when we get the land, and be releasing technologies in, like, I actually won't say too much about it right now. I don't know how public we want to be about that. But just radical consciousness shifting technologies that will have a massive effect on the collective consciousness as a whole. And so that's incredibly exciting. And I just mentioned him because I'm super excited about how I'm learning more about like the shifts of consciousness and what actually happens on like a quantum physics level, and everything in terms of like coming back to our natural states of frequency, because everything's a frequency in this universe. And you know, if we have something that's out of frequency, if we balance that frequency, then we can be back in balance. And it's really when we learn how to play with those frequencies and understand those frequencies, we can create healing like that. And that's why it's fascinating. There's incredible technologies that we're tapping into in the world. There's this one brother who is a part of this vision, who is, I see and feel and know, is going to be working with us, is this guy who was healing cancer with water. How, you say? Well, very much based on what I was just saying, which was the frequency technology stuff. They have these out right now, but this guy was just like, had this dialed at a whole different level. And with this guy, he was healing cancer with water by being able to literally get the frequency from people's hands, and in turn get the frequency of their entire body, and be able to distinguish what frequency the cancer was existing at, and be able to basically program water to vibrate at a different frequency or at the same frequency, something to cancel out that water. I don't understand the science of it, but I understand what he did. And cancel out that vibration of the cancer, and was healing people with cancer, with terminal illnesses, with like 2 weeks left to live, with water. And this is for real. This is technology that is available, but we don't know about, but is hidden from us. You want to know what happened to this guy? He was kidnapped. He was put into the back of a van, sent out of the country, and held in prisons for years without charges, without reason. And he eventually escaped or got out and lived to tell the story, and is so passionate about bringing this to the world, to the people who will really use this for the good, and not just some venture capitalists who want to make billions of dollars and then control people with it. You know, it's incredible as I'm starting to learn more and more about the systems of what are keeping us stuck and trapped in the reality where we, as a human race, are just living the same day monotonously, mediocrely, and just like kind of subpar, kind of happy, kind of unhappy, like somewhere in between. Basically, the monotonous same day. And that's what keeps us stuck. And so I've been studying and learning, or asking more so, as I really see that we are here together to liberate humanity from the bondages that keep them stuck in the unconscious patterns every single day, it takes understanding what's really happening. It takes really understanding, like, the powers that are going on that are so invisible to our normal society, but are pulling the puppet strings on our human race. And this isn't all like doom and gloom, but it's all about seeing it so that we can understand what we're playing up against and ultimately know how to stand up stronger. And so, as I've been studying that, it's really fascinating to me that debt, debt is actually one of the biggest tools that the 12 families uses in order to keep us stuck and trapped. I won't go too much into the stuck families right now, but that is basically the 12 families that are running the world and that own almost all of the power and money and how basically playing their puppet strings in cities and in economies and within countries to basically give them as much power and money as possible. Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous, but it's so driven by a massively exploded ego that has bypassed love, and that is basically the opposition. And so these beings are like incredibly conscious and enlightened, but in that enlightenment, they somehow found a way to enlighten by bypassing the heart, which is why they're unable to feel for the people that they're doing this unto. So they lack an empathetic feeling. But without going into the 12 families, what's happening is they are controlling us through the systems that they place in the cities. And I feel like this is important to know, again, not to scare, because this isn't scary, we're getting out of it, but to understand what they're doing to us and the systems that we're playing in. And so, like, the big thing is debt. Debt is one of the things that's like, they just like got you by the balls. And once they have you there, they like control you. And the way they get us in debt is through education. One of the ways that we don't even see is a trap is the education system, because they want us in school. That's not even speaking about like high school and elementary school. Like, that's all obviously set up to make us drones in the future, so that basically it's teaching us how we want university education, which is basically created so that we can be in debt, and then we have to, since we're in debt, we have to get a job, and then once we have the job, then we're basically trapped into the system. And there's whole economies or whole industries that are made job-wise because they just want us in jobs so that we can be doing the same thing and feeding this, kind of like energy vampire that is sucking the energy from us. It's such a wild, world that we live in when you really start to understand what's going on and how we are going to get out of it. And that's why these villages are so important, because I see that we are going to create the exit strategy for the people who are so trapped. I mean, I was going to say trapped and stuck. That are so trapped and stuck. And so, for the right people, we are inviting you. Right now, we don't have very much space. We're going to keep the volunteer or the family. It's not volunteers, it's family, it's tribe. We're coming together to work on one unified vision, to work together to come back to the land, to heal, and basically create these havens for us in our paradise, our fifth dimensional village, as I call it, where there's just different shades of light and love. And we help people who are not yet there to see what it's like, and then plant those seeds as they nurture it themselves through their daily practice in the cities until they're ready to leave the trap of the illusion. And so we're building these together. And whether you're somebody who wants to come be a part of the family, amazing. Please apply to be a member of the family, a volunteer application. It's called volunteer application because it's like everybody understands what that means, but it's so much more than a volunteer position. It's really being a part of this family where together we are going to work on a unified vision of awakening the whole and serving the whole and liberating literally the human race from the bondages that keep us stuck. And for a lot of people, I want to say right now, actually, if you are stuck in this realm of debt and you feel so trapped by it, see that it's just a system of control that has been created to have you be a little pawn piece in their big game of chess. And that you don't have to play their game. If you want to play their game in their systems and you want their mortgages, you want their loans, you want their jobs, if that's what you want, then yeah, that system is important. Your credit score? Sure, very important. But if you're leaving the system, why does your credit score matter? Right? You're not playing in their system anymore. And we're creating our whole own system, which is basically all the money that comes from the funding from the retreats. It's just going to fund the village. It's just going to fund the growth of these communities, in building the most amazing structures, in growing our food, building these biogeodesic domes that we get to build our own food in, and like just incredible technologies like that water guy I was telling you about, like this incredible genius who is bringing free energy technology to the world in this vision. And with everything that we're doing with this money, it's basically just so that we can grow and serve the community and duplicate ourselves and place ourselves all over the world, and then have unified meditations, have unified ceremonies, pray on a specific issue together at once, have ceremonies to ground the fifth dimensional grid so that we are holding the space more powerfully for all beings to automatically just rise up to. Magic is unfolding, and where the silent opposition that is having such a profound effect, yet at the same time there's going to be a lot of chaos in the world as we live through these times. And I'm just so excited to be doing this with you all. Have you heard about the China economy, or China creating a gold-backed currency, or planning to release that? That's huge. And why that's important, and go do research on it yourself, do your own due diligence before you believe anything I say. And really, I don't ever want you to believe anything I say. All I ever want you to do is follow your own truth, your own heart, whatever that means to you. And if I speak the same truth in the same language you do, then great. Let's unify our intentions and serve together. And if not, that's great too. I love you. And so what I was going into with China creating the gold-backed currency is basically they are planning for a huge shift in economic control and power. Because if an organization or a country creates or launches a gold-backed currency, every other currency that is not gold-backed in the world right now, known as fiat currency, it's basically just numbers on paper. And when that money, gold-backed currency, comes, basically everybody's going to be buying that and selling their other shit, because that's like, what the hell do I need that for if there's a gold-backed currency? Does that make sense? And then if there's still people who still have that money, they're going to kind of just like jump the boat because they don't want to get left behind with the dropping dollar, value of a dollar, whatever dollar that is, whatever currency that is. And so China is basically going to have so much of the economic power. And this is all just fascinating because it's really important for us to be empowered to understand how important now is the time for us to be doing this, for us to come together, to unite in intention. And when we unite in intention, it's not 1 + 1 or 2 + 2. It's like you just exponentially explode. So instead of like 3 plus 3, that's an easier number to work with, and I like threes. Instead of 3 plus 3, it's 3 times 3. And then another 3, it's 3 to the power of 3. And we just keep enhancing this as each person with the same intention of healing and awakening the world and liberating humanity and allowing us to come back to our truth, to live our highest truth, to know who we really are, to come back to love, to presence, to the earth. And I know there's so many of us out there, and when those of us who feel the truth in this come together, we are going to be a force to be reckoned with. And that is why we're creating these communities. That is why we're creating these centers. And the center and the retreat aspect of it is just the self-sustainable aspect to it, because a lot of communities fail to grow really big because they are not self-funding. They don't have a way to generate revenue or money or funds or that kind of energy within the community. So they might grow their own vegetables and then kind of be very, still not have very much money. They're still very broke. And I see it's so important that in order for this to be a reality, for this to grow, it has to be self-funding and self-sustainable. And that's why the retreat aspects to it, and the cancer healing, and the healing that we're going to be bringing and offering to the world together, why that's such an important part to it. So there's so many pieces that are in play to make this happen in the way that we've all seen it to be. And that's us coming together as family, building the villages so we can hold space for more family. And then for those who are not yet ready to be a part of the family, and like I said, I can only choose right now a couple dozen people. I want to choose everybody. We've been getting so many beautiful applications, and I want to choose everybody, but I can't, or that's not fully in alignment. And so for those of you who aren't accepted to be welcomed into the family to ground this in the serving team, then I invite you to apply and be a guest. And it's still going to be so transformational. And if you want to learn about that, then just click the link in the description to learn how to be a guest of the center. It's going to be unlike any experience that's ever been offered anywhere in the world. Why? Is because we're bringing together such high vibrational, awake, clear conscious beings, and with so much intention to deliver transformation beyond words to any being who comes. And that is what these retreats are going to be about. They're going to involve, oh my God, just seeing the vision is so exciting to me. Not only ayahuasca ceremonies, which is, it's important and a huge part of it, but it's just one piece. It's just one tool. But not every tool is for, or not one tool is for every person, and not every tool is for one person. So we're going to be offering all sorts of different paths that you will find what resonates with you, because it's so important that as you do this work, that when you leave, you have a path to continue this work. It's not just like, oh, we have this one incredibly enlightening experience, and then I go back to my life and I do nothing with it. We don't want those kind of people. We don't just want the psychonauts who are just looking for a journey and to trip out. No, that's not what this is for. This is for people who are so ready to break free of the bondage of and come back into their liberation and wake up so fully into who you really are and your highest truth, and are willing to do the work once you go and leave our center. And so we're going to offer so many things, everything from ayahuasca ceremonies to breath work, to regression ceremonies, to sound deprivation tanks, to group sharings, to lectures and the highest vibrational food, and even ongoing integration that's going to happen as we provide you a phone group coaching support as you leave, so that, because it's so important, that I see the most important thing is, okay, there's the ceremony and the retreat that you have with us that lasts over a weekend, 4 days to be exact, from Thursday to Friday to Monday. But how do you integrate that into your life? And that's why this ongoing integration support is, I don't see anybody offering it in the retreat world, and that's why we are so happy to be offering this to you all. We are really bringing something that the world has never seen before, and I am so grateful, honored, humbled, in awe, speechless for being such a vessel to just bring this to you and the world. So if this aligns with you, if this makes your heart sing, then please be a part of this movement. Either apply to be a volunteer or apply to be a guest. And every single ounce of energy that you put into this, whether it's being a volunteer or it's being a guest, is truly liberating the humanity. So apply, links in the description. I love you so much. Please subscribe to my channel if you want to be kept up to date. And if you aren't subscribed to my list somewhere, you can find that in the link somewhere that's up on around this page. And yeah, I love you guys so much. I am so grateful to be doing this journey with each and every single one of you. And let's see how this unfolds. The land is coming. The video's already getting long. I have so much more that I can keep going into, but just know the land in Portland, the most incredible paradise, is coming. And we're going to be moving in there soon for the right people, the right tribe. I'm so stoked. Much love, guys. Mwah. I'll see you soon.